This photo was taken in 1965, and recently skateboarding legend Tony Hawk posted about this photo asking if anybody knew who he was. Now some of you guys tagged me in this post. Let's see what I can do here. Last night Tony Hawk followed me on Instagram. Blew my mind. This guy's an idol of mine. But this morning I actually woke up to a DM from Tony Hawk, and he basically said, "Hey Dan, if you're serious about trying to find this photo, I want in and I want to help you." Tony Hawk wants to collab with me? The answer is always yes. So I spent a number of hours trying to see what I could learn about these photos. And here's all the info that I'm working with right now. These photos were taken in 1965 at Central Park in New York City. The photographer is Bill Epridge, who at the time was doing a series on skateboarding in New York City for Life magazine. 3 years after these photos were taken, Bill Epridge volunteered to follow Robert Kennedy's campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination. Now, the night Robert Kennedy won the California primary, he delivered an acceptance speech at the Ambassador Hotel in LA, all being photographed by Bill Epridge. Now, unfortunately that night, Robert Kennedy was assassinated in the kitchen of that hotel. All were being photographed by Bill Epridge. They're pretty intense shots. Now back to these photos. We know this was New York City in 1965, which is great info, but nowhere near enough to be able to locate this guy. Here's why. In 1965, New York's population was 15.1 million people, and we're trying to find one. The culture and sport of skateboarding was at an all-time high, and between 1963 and 1965, an estimated 50 million skateboards were made, which is also important to these photos. These photographs were not captured because what they were doing was so crazy. Skateboarding was trending, and these scenarios were likely found all throughout New York City, which is why he was making a piece on it in the first place. It was trending and it was a craze. So all of that info makes this a very hard search. But what's interesting about all this, these photos were not even a part of the series that Bill did for Life magazine. They weren't there. So it's interesting, out of all of those photos, these were the ones that got famous because of this guy. This guy has literally been called the mystery man because currently there is little to no information about who he was. And there has been some growing theories that people think are true. For an example, one of the most popular theories is that this is actually Gregory Peck, well on set of To Kill a Mockingbird. And while I could see the resemblance in their faces, it doesn't check out at all. To Kill a Mockingbird was filmed on the back lot of Universal Studios in California in 1962. So both the location and the year do not line up. On top of that, Gregory Peck was born in 1916, which would make him 49 when these photos would have been taken, which looking at this guy, the age also doesn't line up. Another theory is that since these photos weren't in the Life magazine piece, they were AI generated or created using Photoshop. Now I ran this through an AI detector and it came back negative for AI. Also with the fact that there's 3 different shots all with the same features and people, it's pretty easy to tell that this is not AI generated. So another false theory. And the final story that I read is that this photo was naturally taken. This guy was apparently skateboarding through Central Park, came down this hill and continued on with his life. Didn't stop to talk to people, didn't stop for the photographs. He just kept going, which builds the mystique of who this guy is. It's wild, but this needs to go out there. I have all this information, but one thing I've learned through my own research in finding people in vintage photos is that everybody has a connection. This guy had parents, maybe he had kids, maybe he had a wife. If he didn't, he likely had friends. Somebody knows something of this guy, and based off of the years, it is possible that he is still alive. So I'm putting this forward. If anybody knows anything, please send me a message so I can look further into it. It's not every day one of your idols, by the way, Tony Hawk's skateboard is at the top of my legends row right here. It's not every day that one of your idols asks for help. So of course I want to make this happen. Let's try and find this guy. That's what I'm working with so far. Super surface level, I get it. But the reason why he's called the mystery man is because there's nothing out there on him. Meaning, we need to find people that know him. If you guys want to follow this series, please be sure to like and follow for more. I will keep you updated on anything that comes through. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you guys later.